right. Thanks a lot, Scott. Yeah, so Hawaii should be a little bit more full strength, at least closer than what we have seen in the last several weeks. And they could use a little boost on defense. I'm not sure if Meki Pei can completely compensate for some of the shortcomings that we have seen in the last few weeks. But you're talking about a run defense in Mountain West Conference play that was as high as 4th 4 games in. However, the last 3 weeks, Rich, Hawaii has given up an average of 273 rushing yards per game.
Yeah, and they're going to have to go to a 1 high, right? What does that mean? It means they get more players in the box. And also, Jacob Euro, the defensive coordinator, is going to have some run dogs. He's going to have some pressure. They only have 9 sacks coming into this game. They need to not only pressure the passer, but it's run dogs. It's getting people in gaps and canceling that run.
Hawaii coming off of a 55-13 loss at Fresno State. This is the series record. Utah State leads the all-time series 11-6. Last year, of course, in Logan, it was all Aggies, 51-31. It was the Mountain West Championship season for Blake Anderson, their head coach, now in his 2nd year, and this Utah State program. Also, the Aggies have won the last 6 meetings in the series, including the last 5 by an average of more than 20 points.
Yeah, District 5 Coach of the Year, right? 11 wins last year and a sound victory over San Diego State. Utah State, Blake Anderson has got this program rolling.
So Utah State won the coin toss, elected to defer. Hawaii will be receiving here to start this game. There has been a lot of talk as to what this team can play for, and then there is also the other aspect of it, right? Timmy Chang has to think about the future, and so you have to balance that, right? You want to play the seniors, you want to play players who were loyal to this program when so many others decided to transfer out under the circumstances, but at the same time, you got to get some of these younger dudes some experience points.
Yeah, and it's a precarious, it's a delicate balance, right? So Coach Chang has to, get in Jalen Wathel, get in Chucky Hines. Obviously, we're going to see Tyler Hines. Peter Manuma's going to play anyway. But you're still playing for the seniors. You're still playing because at the end of the year, and I said this prior to the season, games 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 will show the direction of this program.
Well, it is military night here at Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex. They are honoring the members of the military community. Of course, they have been ingrained with the Hawaii community for many, many years. Yesterday was Veterans Day. You had the flyover. Britt Komine, former UH receiver, was piloting one of those jets. I mean, that's incredible stuff.
Yeah, and when you talk about Britt Komine, you got to talk about Jason Rivers, you got to talk about Gerald Welch, you got to talk about Chad Owens. And that group, I don't think any of them ran faster than 4.6 in the 40-yard dash. But you talk about productive, great receivers, that's all part of that group. Britt Komine, good guy, and again, military member, we appreciate him immensely.
All right, so Elliot Nimrod is getting ready to send the football into the air, and we are underway here in Manoa, and it will find its way into the end zone. So touchback here to get things started. Hawaii will have the first possession. And of course, the quarterback for Hawaii is Braden Shager, the 6'3" sophomore from Dallas, Texas. 1,610 yards passing on the season, 7 TDs, 7 interceptions. He was 20 of 40 for 204 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Was sacked twice against Fresno State. Has a TD pass in each of his last 6 games. We'll get to the rest of the starters in a moment. But Hawaii, the expectation, Rich, will be deliberate offensively in terms of the tempo here tonight.
And they've been consistent on the first drive of the season.
It is Dedrick Parson, who only has 20 carries over his last 2 games for 33 yards, gets positive yardage there. The Hawaiian Financial FCU starting lineups. You have Caleb Phillips, Jonah Panoke is back, Zion Bowens, Koala Nishigaya, Dedrick Parson, and on the offensive line, Manning, Bernal Wendt, Hanuvasa Vanterpool, and Austin Hopp. And Zion Bowens on the receiving end, able to move the sticks for Hawaii.
Corner blitz, Zion Bowens sits down. Really nice job of getting rid of the ball and recognizing the corner blitz. Shaker gets the ball, hits Zion Bowens, good pickup.
So a 12-yard connection there. Hawaii approaching midfield. Shager out of the gun. Throws over the middle. That's caught by Zebo. Bowens to the 40, to the 30. Down the sideline he goes and finally pushed out of bounds close to the 25.
Yeah, and Ian Shoemaker, the offensive coordinator, said if they're going to play one high, we have to get the ball on the outside. They're playing one high, right? So that means it's man-to-man coverage. You see the mesh route, the crossing route by Bowens, and then the speed takes over 22 miles per hour.
That's 31 yards on that hookup for Zion Bowens, the team leader coming into this game in receiving yards, despite the fact that he missed so much time due to injury. Take a look at the defensive starters for the Aggies. Greshik, Motu Apuaka, he is a Punahou alum and the heart and soul of this defense. Fakauta and Vaughn's up front. Tafisi actually injured. Max Alford, a freshman linebacker, expected to play in his place. Top tackler is A.J. Vongpachan. Kaleo Nevis, born in Hawaii, is also on the field. Carter, Larson, Reynolds, and Anyanwu in the defensive secondary. So 2nd and 8 here for the Bows. Wearing the all blacks. And this one is connected to Caleb Phillips, and Phillips will go! A penalty flag is thrown on the field.
And that's going to be a pick. That's going to come back. You saw the run and shoot concept, right, with the choice route to the flat, but there was a pick prior to the ball being thrown, or during the ball being thrown.
Pending the call, 24-yard touchdown.
Number 8, offense. Blocking downfield on a legal forward pass. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still 2nd down.
Referee Scott Campbell there on the announcement.
Yeah, and watch the left side. You don't get to actually see it, but it was there. It was a pick. Offense calls it a rub. Officials call it a pick, and it is illegal.
Well, Hawaii has been throwing the ball the last few weeks, Rich. In fact, Braden Shager averaging 42 attempts per game the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you'd like to see that thing where you actually get in front of the defender, but you don't make contact with him. So again, technical mistake by the Hawaii receivers.
So 2nd and long here, 2nd and 23 is what they're calling it. Shager, they're going to run a screen, and Parson couldn't break the tackle. Well played that time by Ike Larson, another good-looking freshman from Smithfield, Utah, at a Skyview High School, and he's filling in for some players who are injured or suspended as well.
Yeah, and Ian Shoemaker says he has about 12 players, right? Well, this is the middle screen, and we saw this 2 weeks ago against Wyoming, which actually resulted in that first touchdown. A really good play, shoestring type of tackle. That could have went to the house.
Utah State, 13 starters have missed a combined 34 games this season due to injury. They also have Gervin Hall Jr., one of their top safeties, who is still suspended for the 2nd straight week. This pass is complete to Parson, and then he gets into a wrestling match with Kaleo Nevis, the 6'1 junior we mentioned from Honolulu, but a graduate of Timpview High School in Utah in his 4th year with the Utah State program.
Yeah, actually started at St. Francis. Dad Kaniala played for Utah. And really nice job of responsibility, right? When you play man coverage and you have that back, he kept his eyes on the back and he made that tackle in the open field.
So missed opportunity for Hawaii, and they were pushed back far enough. They're looking to punt here. So Matt Shipley, who has averaged 41 yards on 50 punts this season, a long of 63, has it at midfield. Sends it skyward. Cooper Jones back to receive, and he'll fair catch it at the 15.
Yeah, Jordan Helly on the Game On crew talked about Shipley being inconsistent a little bit in the last game or two, right? Because he is a very consistent field goal kicker, place kicker, but he's also a good punter. But special teams needs to be special, because Utah State last week was very special on special teams.
26-yard punt. Starting quarterback for Utah State is Cooper Laga, 6'1 junior from Orem, Utah. He got his first action last season, played in a couple of games. His first pass attempt was in the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl against Oregon State, and it was a touchdown. He filled in for an injured Logan Bonner, doing the same. Bonner, who had such a great season last year, breaking his foot in the 4th game of the year against UNLV, and so it has more or less, even though Laga has dealt with some injury as well, been his show. And the first play from scrimmage offensively for Utah State is a connection with Brian Cobbs. He's the top receiver, a team leading 48 catches, 573 yards, and 4 touchdowns coming in.
Pretty good pocket, a little bit of push inside, but that deep dig, you have to maintain that inside leverage as a defensive back.
And a wide open receiver. This is Josh Sturzer, the tight end, being chased, but nobody's going to catch him. And Utah State running tempo goes for 68 yards. Sturzer's first touchdown catch of the season.
Yeah, that's a busted coverage, right? You don't get that wide open. I mean, he was literally 15 yards behind the nearest defensive back. And Cooper Lagar with the throw, almost underthrows the young tight end, but he does the rest, gets into the end zone.
7th touchdown pass for Cooper Lagar, and the coaching staff talking about how he, known for his ability to run with the football, has been steadily improving through the air. And we saw it right there, the up-tempo and the schematics making Sturzer wide open.
Yeah, the play-action RPO, right? Your eyes are in the backfield. You have to keep your eyes on your luggage, so to speak.
Connor Coles, the reigning Mountain West Conference Special Teams Player of the Week, able to boot through the PAT. So just like that, the Aggies up 7, 10:44 to play in the first frame.
University of Hawaii Sports on Spectrum Sports, sponsored by your Hawaii Honda dealers.
Hey, don't miss a second of the action. Watch Spectrum Sports on the go. The Spectrum News app has the local sports you love and the news and weather that matter most to you. Download today on the App Store or Google Play. Well, I hope you didn't blink on that last scoring drive. 2 plays, 85 yards. It took 26 seconds. A 68-yard touchdown connection from Cooper Lagar to Josh Sturzer. Sturzer, who was ejected from last week's game against New Mexico after throwing a punch, mixing it up with one of the Lobos players. All smiles now, and he connects on a proverbial shot to Hawaii here on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that must have been the first half, right? Because he'd still be suspended for that. But that was an ugly play in terms of that was just not clean football, and you don't do that. And I was very surprised of the lack of discipline.
That's one way to get back into the good graces of the coaching staff, though, right? Is you catch a long touchdown and you put your team up on the road in the first quarter. So Hawaii's offense back on the field. 1st and 10, ball at the 25. Tylen Hines now in the backfield, standing next to Braden Shager. Shager with time, sits in the pocket now, fires a wide open Jonah Panoke. And as Jay-Z would say, allow me to reintroduce myself. Jonah Panoke, who missed 6 games due to a collarbone injury, he is back.
Yeah, and you should see the protection in terms of, watch Tylen Hines pick up a much bigger human being. The offensive line squeezed it down. Great protection. What a touch pass by the quarterback. Jonah Panoke, welcome back.
28 yards there, and Hawaii venturing once again for the 2nd straight possession into Utah State territory. Here's Hines trying to find the edge, but he is wrapped up. Nice play there by Omari Okeke, 6'2" junior from Bellflower, California.
Hines averaging 8.7 yards a carry in the last 2 games, stretching this thing east to west. Give credit to setting the edge and also discipline on the outside of the Utah State defense. Every defense has an edge. That was well played.
Yeah, Hines, 7.5 yards per carry on the season. This guy has been productive and starting to get more and more involved in the offense. That pass is snagged by Panoke. Did he get a foot down? They're going to say that he did not. So Jonah Panoke, the 6'2" junior, well, the officials are going to talk it over, so they haven't quite made the final ruling just yet, it appears. See if he does.
Maybe that toe doesn't drag. It's very close, and I'm glad they're looking
Ruling
at
on the field.
Ooh, looks like they're going to say it was a
completed.
Catch.
3rd down.
Maybe that back foot, that back toe was able to get down before that front foot landed out of bounds. But Jonah Panoke out of St. Louis School. This is a guy who brings maybe the most experience to this receiving corps. But that injury kept him off the field for some time, and I don't know, by that replay, what do you say, Rich?
You always ask me to give you a clear and definitive answer. I'm saying he was out of bounds, but at the same time, here we go with 3rd down.
Panoke came out the gate like gangbusters. 7 catches, 101 yards, 49 yards after the catch on 9 targets in the opener against Vanderbilt. Shager has to get rid of it, finds Phillips, and did he haul it in? They will say that he did, falling to the turf.
Ruling on the field. Is an incomplete pass.
Oh, so one official said yes, it was a catch. The other said no, and so we've had now a couple of disputes there on the receiving end here the last couple of plays.
Yeah, but real good protocol on this one because it's the back judge that comes all the way in, and as he sees that ball on the ground being trapped, side judge kind of view as blocked, and I'm liking the fact that they're getting together and they're collaborating.
So 4th and 4, and sort of in that gray area on the field, right? So Hawaii keeping the offense out there. And they're going for it here, Rich Miano.
That's man coverage 1 high, right? So, ooh, quick timeout by Coach Chang, I think.
The ruling on the field of the previous play of a completed catch is under review.
So they're going to take a look at that would-be catch by Caleb Phillips.
Correction, we're going to review the incomplete pass.
So here is the replay. The ball touches the turf.
And it moves, and that's where I think he doesn't complete the catch, but.
Well, if we can open up the mic, we finally have George Gussman back up here in the booth with us. He is our Spectrum Sports rules analyst. George, what are the rules here regarding the football and a catch and it touching the turf?
Well, what we're looking for here is control. And at this point, it appears that the control happens with the assistance of the ground. I believe that this will be upheld
After
as a
review,
complete pass.
the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass will stand 4th down.
Quick and concise. George knows his rules.
It's good to have you back, George.
Yeah, and we were talking pregame, right, about George, how the rules are different from high school to college to the National Football League, and how those guys in Germany watching that Tom Brady game tomorrow, they must really be confused with the rules of American football.
Yeah, scholars are still debating over what exactly is a catch. Yeah. But Hawaii deciding to change course here, and they bring Matt Shipley out once again to punt. So a similar area of the field where they punted the last time.
Yeah, and last time the net 26 yards should have been 31, right? You want this ball to go to the 10-yard line, and that's a sky punt.
Nobody back for Utah State to receive this. And it takes an Aggies bounce, and it will be retrieved by Peter Manuma at the 15. So the Aggies are going to start about the same point in the field as they did on the first possession. They got a touchdown on that one. What will they do for round 2? Welcome back. Let's take a look at the defensive starters for Hawaii up front. It is Andrew Choi, Blessman, Ta'ala, John Tuitupo. Ta'ala, by the way, now playing in his 63rd straight game. Pene Pavihi, Logan Taylor, Jonah Kahahavai-Welch, and Malik Hausman. And then on the back end, Hugh Nelson, Leonard Lee, Peter Manuma, Verdell Edwards, the listed starters. We are anticipating seeing Meki Pei on the field, and in fact, we can confirm that he is back after missing several games to injury.
Every time you talk about Blessman to Ta'ala's start, I mean, it's not Lou Gehrig, it's a different sport, but you talk about an Iron Man. That guy is amazing.
So Utah State play action. They're going to throw down the field, and that goes in and out of the hands of Brian Cobbs. The throw was there, but so was the coverage on the back end. Jonah Kahahavai-Welch applying some pressure there on the quarterback, Laga.
You talked about the accuracy of this RPO. I mean, his hands are in the pocket. He gets his eyes back downfield, and watch the corner out running away from the inside defender. That's a great throw, not a good throw.
Malik Hausman was there in the defensive secondary. Here's a running play, and this is Calvin Tyler Jr. He is the top back for Utah State.
Late flag.
We have a flag down on the field as well. Tyler, who played limited snaps last week due to injury, but the coaching staff telling us that he is quite all right here for this matchup with Hawaii. 740 yards on the ground this season, couple of touchdowns. 13th all-time on the Utah State rushing list.
There's no foul for targeting. The runner is short of the line to gain. 3rd down.
Yeah, and you saw Peter Manuma come in, and he was so low to the ground that he had to kind of, the head is part of the body, so he didn't, it wasn't malicious, it wasn't egregious, and they decided not to call it at all.
So that brings up a 3rd and short here for the Aggies. A quick strike drive in their first possession.
Sometimes it's the best calls and no calls.
But here they're looking to convert on 3rd down. And it's going to be a completion out to Terrell Vaughn. And a flag coming out at the end of that play.
And another one out of bounds.
Terrell Vaughn, the 5'7" junior from Oxnard, California. Went to Westlake High School. Was in JUCO All-American at Ventura Junior College. We'll see what this is about. 15 yards on the would-be reception, but a huddle among the officials.
A lot of misdirection, a lot of bootleg action thus far from the Aggies offensively.
There's a good look at Blake Anderson, the head coach, in his second year. 9th season overall as a Division I head coach. Spent 7 years previously at Arkansas State, where he led the Red Wolves to 6 straight winning seasons and bowl games. And then wins the Mountain West Championship his first year at Utah State last year.
Number 10, offense, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still third down. There's no foul for a late hit out of bounds.
All right, so just the one penalty, and it's on Justin McGriff, the 6'6" senior receiver from Tampa, Florida.
Costly penalty when you think about 3rd and 1, moving the change, changing the field
Enforcement
position.
will be half the distance to the goal.
That's a biggie right there.
Wasn't sure if it was a pick or somehow he used his hands to push off, but again, costly penalty.
So it goes from 3rd and rather short to now 3rd and 14. And that encourages the crowd to try to turn up the volume knob.
When you get a chance to see those wide splits, you see trips all the way over by the numbers. Down here, the X receiver, the single receiver, all the way past the numbers.
It's a little shovel pass. This is Tyler putting on a juke move, the stiff arm to break a tackle, and he gets first down yardage out to the 30.
Missed tackle by Hawaii's safety. You're going to see a really nicely designed underhand shuffle pass. Good for 16 yards, but it was right there. It was the missed tackle. Short of the sticks would have been a non-first down.
They needed 14 on that play. They got 16. Now Laga on the keeper is chopped down for no gain. All right, let's meet the starters for Utah State on offense. Sturzer already has a tutty to his credit. Cobbs, McGriff, Vaughn, and Calvin Tyler Jr. in the backfield. Edwards, Meacham, Dolphin, Lapuaho, and Jacob South, who we are told is out tonight. So Cole Motes, number 56, 6'5" sophomore, is there in his place at right tackle. Here's Tyler, rudely met in the backfield, and he goes backwards. Logan Taylor, Pene Pavihi, Jonah Kahavai Welch.
Yeah, I think Kahavai Welch was the initial. What he did was he got extension, 2-gap. He changed the line of scrimmage, and then you're going to see, number 1, Pene Pavihi. Good job of keeping your shoulders square initially by Jonah, and then Pene cleaning up the back.
Pene in his 6th year with Hawaii from Pongo Pongo, American Samoa. Team's leading tackler coming in. So another 3rd and long situation here for Utah State. This is a heave down the sideline, contact on the route, and a penalty flag is thrown. It was Hugh Nelson who was trying to stay step for step with Brian Cobbs.
Yeah, to me, from this angle, it looked like incidental contact. He ran up
Pass
on the
interference,
legs.
number 3. Defense, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic, first down.
Yeah, I just think that he's running and he kind of stumbles, but there was no grabbing, there was no hand battling. I don't agree with that call as a former defensive back coach. I don't understand why.
I mean, you're known to be a little bit biased towards the defense, though. Here is Tyler on the run, and he is gang tackled at midfield.
Calvin Tyler Jr., the ball carrier.
What do you think about the tempo here so far? We saw Utah State very quick to the line on that first possession. Obviously, penalties have gotten in the way a little bit here, but again, trying to up the tempo, no huddle on this snap.
First in the Mountain West, 2.96 per play.
And that is a keeper by Laga. He can run with it. Coming into this game, 57 rushes for 189 net yards, 2 touchdowns at a long of 32.
And I knew he was athletic, and I knew he was a dual threat, but I'll tell you what, he's a better thrower thus far than I thought he was coming into this football game.
And that's something that Blake Anderson And the rest of the coaching staff on the offensive side has said he has vastly improved in his throwing ability here over the course of his career at Utah State. He is a junior, but again, played minimally his first 2 years with the program. A couple of stints last year, and then with the Logan Bonner injury early in the bowl game, it was Cooper Lega's show, and he delivered. Again, first career pass was a touchdown. He's the first FBS quarterback to ever do that.
Yeah, he had a great bowl game in place of Bonner, and having a good season when he's healthy.
Tyler following his block, and he gets across the 40, but a penalty flag again coming out on the field. We've had some laundry here tossed about this evening so far.
Yeah, it hasn't been clean, but going back to the quarterback, Levi Williams, the backup is out, so the freshman Bishop Davenport, all of these guys have won a game this season. The only school in the FBS to have 4 quarterbacks that have won a football game.
Illegal block below the waist, number 61, offense. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, still second down.
61, that's Waylon Lapuaho, 6'4" freshman from South Jordan, Utah, 310 pounds.
Yeah, that rule, again, blocking below the waist, has changed again this year. But again, a safety rule to protect the lower extremities of kind of defenseless players in the box.
Penalties have been a bugaboo for Utah State this year. They are the most penalized team in the Mountain West. 12 penalties last week against New Mexico in a win, by the way, for 113 yards. And we're seeing it again already here this evening. Lega going to try to run out of there. And he gets chopped down, takes a licking at the end of that play. You had Pavihi on the scene, Kobe Wyatt, Logan Taylor, of course, always seems to be where the ball is.
Yeah, and you mentioned leading tackler Panay Pavi, but Logan Taylor, the last couple of games, he's almost leading the nation in tackles in terms of games played. And you got to see Panay, you got to see Foy Shaw, 98.
So this is 3rd and a hefty 18. The throw by Lega is caught just shy of the 40-yard line. Caught by Brian Cobbs. Cobbs, who is a grad transfer from Maryland, where he caught 59 passes for 858 yards and 2 touchdowns in 4 years. And that brings up 4th down, and Utah State going for it here. They've actually been pretty good on 4th down this season, as you see, 52% conversion rate.
Why are they spreading the field? It thins out the box. It's easier on protection. It also does not allow the corners to overlap if a run breaks. It determines what coverage as well.
13th play of the drive here, a drive that started at the Utah State 17. And the play clock winding down. It looks like Utah State going to call a timeout, and they're going to talk it over.
Delay game.
And it looks like they're going to change their mind
5-yard penalty
with 2:53 left. Or did they call a timeout? I think they decided to just take the delay of game, give them a little bit more room here on the punt.
Yeah, very tactical decision by Blake Anderson, who was wearing lays prior to the game. Does not have any on now.
So Stephen Kotzenle is the punter. Has dropped 18 punts inside the 20, and this one is muffed. And it is recovered by Utah State. Jamie Nance.
Ruling on the field was the kick was muffed by the receiving team, recovered by the kicking team, 1st down.
Nance, a sophomore, started his collegiate career at Nebraska. He recovers the muffed punt by Dedrick Parson.
Great punt, end over end, gets up there in this lights, and guess what? Last week, fake field goal for a touchdown, fake punt for a 1st down, kickoff coverage, tackle on the 1-yard line, and a muff punt recovery. Utah State beat New Mexico basically with great special teams.
And it should be stated, Dior Scott not playing tonight for Hawaii. He has been their primary punt returner this season. So Dedrick Parson getting the call, it didn't work out, at least on that sequence. And so a very short field here for Utah State. 1st and goal, ball at the 7. And they run a reverse. And it is Cobbs with some greenery in front of him. He goes airborne and is down inside the 5.
Yeah, Peter Manuma, right, has a dilemma. He's in conflict. Does he play the pass on the reverse, or does he come up? He comes up, and you're going to see this type of athleticism more and more in college football and even the National Football League. Guys just hurdle low tackles.
Brian Cobbs comes from good stock. His dad, Robert, part of the Penn State national title teams in '82 and '86. More compact formation here. The fake handoff, the throw to the end zone, a little too tall, intended for Brock Lane. Even too tall for the 6'4", 240-pound frame of the Chandler, Arizona native. Logan Taylor there in the coverage.
Yeah, a really good run fake, right? He really bends his knees, he gets down, he holds it in there in the mesh point. Logan Taylor corrects with his eyes. Great job. I know Chris Brown was proud of that young man.
So 3rd and goal here. You see the 3rd down conversion rate for Utah State, 9th in the Mountain West. 2 for 3 though already in this game. Here's a throw to the corner and nobody home. But JoJo Forrest playing defense there on that occasion.
JoJo Forrest has hips. He has quickness. He's been injured a little bit, nicked up this season. But when he's in there, he's the lockdown guy that Abraham Ilamemia works on the opponent's best receiver.
So here's Connor Coles, long of 50 yards. He accounted for 15 points in that game against New Mexico. 2 of 3 field goals. Scored a touchdown on the fake field goal you mentioned, and also 3 PATs.
Yeah, that's got to be special teams play of the week. That should be a national award on that production.
This from 21 yards, and he blasts it through. And Utah State now up 2 scores. They scored 10 first quarter points. Still $1:43 left to play here in the first stanza. Hawaii will be looked upon to respond when we return. So Connor Coles with the field goal puts Utah State up 10, but those 3 points were gifted after the muff punt by Dedrick Parson gave Utah State the short field.
Yeah, but the offensive coordinator, right, for Utah State, obviously Anthony Tucker, it has to be happy with the performance thus far because they're throwing the ball short and long. They're also running the ball inside and outside. They've got a nice game plan thus far. 10 points on the scoreboard early in the first quarter.
So Nimrod to kick. Tylan Hines and Dedrick Parson back to receive here. Maybe a moral victory for Hawaii defensively to at least hold Utah State to just 3, considering the circumstances.
100%. When you're trapped in plus territory in the red zone, your defense just gives up a field goal. That is a moral victory for Jacob Euro, the defensive coordinator's defense.
All right, let's go inside the numbers presented by Longs. And 19 is the number. Different players for the University of Hawaii that have caught a pass this season. That is up there among the tops in the nation. In fact, UH tied for 8th nationally with that statistic. Here is Jonah Panoke. Good to have this guy back, isn't it, as he's able to fight and claw for a couple of extra yards after the catch.
Yeah, really good job by Panoke, not only winning on the line of scrimmage, but winning at the end of the route, coming back to the football, selling the go route, really getting his knees bent, coming down and coming out of that break. Shager and Panoke have a special connection that has been missed the last 4 or 5 weeks.
So gain of 10 there. That was just enough to move the sticks. And now it is a handoff to Parson, and Parson able to get good chunks of yards there. It'll be a gain of about 6, maybe 7.
Parson showing really good quickness. Almost looked like 24. Tylan Hines, who's a lot smaller than Parsons, but again, right up that interior behind Aliki Tanavasa. Snap was awry.
So Shager, all he could do with it is fall forward after the bobble there. And so Hawaii shooting itself in the foot here in this opening quarter.
Shager's looking to his right, not ready for that snap, and somehow Aliki Tanavasa snaps again. He's been out for a few weeks, but he is a senior, he is a captain.
And how fortunate on that bounce was Shager. It was fortuitous that he was even able to retrieve it after he wasn't aware that the snap was even coming. Under 20 seconds here in quarter number 1. Hawaii going for it here on 3rd down. They are 0 for 2 on 3rd down conversions. And this is a completion. This is Jordan Murray. And the big body of Jordan Murray will be stopped short. The tackle made by A.J. Vongpachon, 6'2" senior from Pasco, Washington, the team leader in tackles with 77 coming in. And he halts Murray shy of a first down. So quarter number one coming to a close. It'll be fourth down for the Bows on the other side of
game
this
clock
break.
Operator,
Utah
please
State
put 3
taking
seconds.
advantage of some Hawaii miscues, and they take a 10-0 lead into quarter number two. All right, so we are being told that they are actually putting time back on the clock, so that is not the end of the first quarter. And so they're going to put 3 seconds back on, keeping all of our production crew very much on their toes there in the truck.
And that play, right, in particular, Jordan Murray, 6'3", 245 pounds, needs to get that first down. But that was not a clean route.
And so a 4th and short here. And Hawaii bringing the offense out on the field, Rich, in their own territory. 4th and a yard. And so a bit of a rolling of the dice with 3 seconds left in quarter number one. It is Najee Bryant Lele in the backfield. Pistol formation here for Hawaii. Bryant Lele gets the handoff, and he is off to the races. Being chased by Michael Anyanwu, who finally cuts him down. Number 22 on number 22 crime there on that play, but not before Najee delivers in a big way.
Najee's biggest run as a Warrior, 43 yards, right up the middle. Good job cutting and then using that speed to get out of bounds.
Much more eventful end to quarter number one. Yes, Military Appreciation Night here at Clarence T.C. Ching Athletic Complex. And a busy weekend in Manoa. The 57th Annual Outrigger Resort Rainbow Classic continues tomorrow. Our coverage, Hawaii versus Eastern Washington, begins on Spectrum Sports at 4:30.
So much appreciation for the military. 2 brother-in-laws, they're in the service, and of course in Hawaii, they're a big part of the fabric of this community.
Yeah, I am the son of a veteran, the grandson of a veteran, both naval vets. And so, yes, a big mahalo to all of our members of the military. Thank you for your service. An odd ending to quarter number one, but it ended well for Hawaii as Bryant Lele was able to get the huge run on 4th down. Now the throw to the end zone is bobbled, and it falls incomplete. Jordan Murray was the target. The 6'5", 240-pound senior came into the season with a lot of expectation. Penalty flag on the field, though.
Yeah, roughing the passer. Really a drop. That's in his hands. He needs to secure the catch, but there was a roughing the passer call.
Ian Shoemaker, the offensive coordinator for Hawaii, has talked occasionally about how they have tried to force feed Jordan at times. This was one where maybe he could have had, but that roughing of the quarterback, you could see it just as the camera was panning.
Yeah, and when we talked to Ian Shoemaker, right, about the consistency and the percentage of Shaker, a lot of it is drop balls. A lot of it is routes that are not run properly. That ball is put exactly on the chin.
Byron Vaughns was the perpetrator of that penalty, and El Manning was off to the races.
Yeah, when you talk about discipline, Hawaii's been a pretty disciplined football team
False
this
start.
year.
Number 75, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Take away the first few games of the season. They haven't turned it over that much. They need to take it away a little bit more in defense, but got to know the snap count. Bill Manning has way over double digits in penalties.
Yeah, Hawaii actually 4th best in the conference in penalty numbers. We mentioned Utah State is at the bottom in that statistic. Almost 80 yards worth of penalties per game. Shager has to get rid of it. And he fires it incomplete. Caleb Phillips was the closest Rainbow Warrior to that one. Tavian Coleman was creeping on Braden Shager on that play.
Good protection, good pocket, and that's been the case all year long. Again, when we talk about drops, we talk about receivers not running the proper route. For the most part, the protection has been very solid, and when you talk to opposing defensive coordinators, they say Roman Sapolo's group, this offensive line, may be the best coach in one of the best offensive lines in the Mountain West Conference.
So 2nd and goal, now outside the 10, ball at the 11. Shager being chased again, throws, and it gets home! Jonah Panoke! That ball was put in the perfect spot. And Panoke back on the field, back in the end zone.
11 yards, but this ball is thrown with some incredible touch right over, I think, a defensive end who's dropping on a zone dog blitz. Shager showing a little bit of mobility, but always eyes down the field, always trying to buy time. And then you talk about putting it over the outstretched arms. Heck of a touch pass by the guy that can make all of the throws.
The point after by Shipley is good. Got a PAT block last week. It was his first missed PAT of his career, but that one is true. And Hawaii cuts into this deficit. Jonah Panoke from Braden Shager. Panoke's first receiving touchdown of his career. Welcome back. There you see the scoring drive. 7 plays, 75 yards. Jonah Panoke on the receiving end of a 13-yard touchdown pass from Braden Shager. And yes, I repeat, Jonah Panoke's first career touchdown catch as a Rainbow Warrior.
I'm going back to St. Louis in the state championship. I remember that touchdown catch, and I expected many more from that young receiver because he is a really good receiver, and he's gifted, especially in the possession, the over-the-middle type of grabs.
Hawaii needed that, down 10-0 after the first quarter. Now able to change the complexion and vibe of this thing here very early on in quarter number 2. The boot by Kyler Halverson ends up in the end zone. Halverson has been awfully good at that here this season. So touchback for Utah State's offense. Let's send it down to Scott Robbs. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Kanoa, you look at Utah State quarterback Cooper Legis. He's out of Orem, Utah. The guy had an incredible high school career. He won 2 state football championships. He won a pair of state championships in the javelin, and he was a 2-time 195-pound state wrestling champ for Orem High. Kind of reminds me of Rich Miano at Kaiser, guys.
Well, I wasn't the wrestler he is, and that's why he's so tough, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But
he was wearing the singlet. You were wearing the Speedo because you were the diver.
I was
yeah.
a track guy. I was a football guy. I appreciate that, Scott.
Here is Laga. That pass is caught down near the ankles there by Justin McGriff. But yeah, you have to have a cannon for an arm if you are also a 2-time state champion at throwing the javelin, right?
Yeah, and I remember one of the Kofensis brothers, Kyle, his son was a state championship javelin player and a heck of a quarterback as well. There is carryover.
Here's Tyler, and he's able to trudge forward. That'll be enough for a Utah State first down. I mentioned Calvin Tyler Jr. Spent 4 years at Oregon State. He was former teammates with Hawaii linebacker Isaiah Tufanga over there. Played in 14 career games with the Beavers before matriculating to Logan. And boy, has he been productive.
A lot of Power 5 transfer FBS guys ending up in Logan, Utah, and basically from big programs really adding to the talent level.
There at Blessing Ta'ala, 6'2", 305-pound senior. Said that when he was younger, he would watch videos of J.J. Watt. That's what he used to inspire his play, and modeled some of his football skill set around. As that pass is complete to Cobbs, JoJo Forrest on the stop.
Forrest on that tight coverage. Get a chance to see a little RPO action. Good job with the hips of the quarterback. Nice job with his feet, getting squared up to the throw. Really impressed by the ability to throw the football and spin it with accuracy by a dual threat quarterback. This young man is legit.
So 3rd and 4. Utah State 2 of 4 on 3rd down. And here they bring the formation in tight. And they also have a different running back out there. It's Robert Briggs, the freshman.
Timeout.
Who has had a couple of
Hawaii.
strong performances as of
First
late.
and a
But
half.
prior to the snap,
Timeout on the field.
timeout Utah State. Make that timeout Hawaii. 12:41 left to play in quarter number 2. Utah State by 3. Welcome back. A couple of former Bows. Nate Ilawa, still part of the program. How about Gerald Welsh, one of the former favorite targets of one Timmy Chang, now the head coach at Hawaii.
Yeah, and we talked about that group, right? You had Jason Rivers, you had Gerald Welsh,
It was like
you
all
had
local
Britt
brothers.
Comini and Chad Owens, and those brothers could play, and so could that other guy, Nate Ilawa.
Yeah. Nasty Nate.
You know, talking about this offense, right? It's a blend of tempo, air raid, and really, Blake Anderson was on the front end of the spread tempo offense. Lincoln Riley, Cliff Kingsbury, Art Briles. Spacing is big in this offense.
Yeah, the splits are as wide as the field can allow as that pass is complete to McGriff. Just one added note on Nate Ilawa, who we saw moments ago. Now the director of recruiting, to be specific. That is his role with the University of Hawaii program.
Yeah, him along with Jeff Reinbold. I mean, it's a 24/7, 365-year job in terms of they're going to go big on JC. They got the transfer portal. You got the freshmen. And we talked a lot about, with Coach Chang, about recruiting.
Robert Briggs there on the carry. The 5'6", 175-pound freshman from Belleville, Texas. But he's rushed for 341 yards coming into this game and a touchdown. This throw is down the sideline, and it is hauled in. Brian Cobbs against
Running on the
JoJo
field is a
Forrest.
catch. First down.
And that's a biggie.
Yeah, and I don't like what Cobbs did after the play. It was almost taunting, and it could have been called. And that's something that they're
Time out
really
on the
making a
field
point of.
for
You're
an
going to
injured
get to see a
defensive.
great catch now. He gets inside position, right? He goes up at the highest point, secures the football. But if we get a chance to see after the play, I don't like standing over an opponent.
And that is literal insult to injury because JoJo Forrest is down on the field after the 34-yard connection to Brian Cobbs. And you're right, that did not look very sportsmanlike.
Yeah, and according to George Gusman, he said that could have been called as well because, again, the player is injured and you're standing over him. I don't like that.
All right, let's open up the mic then for George Gusman. He is our Spectrum Sports rules analyst. Anything there that catches your eye, George?
Well, I think anytime you stand over someone, lean down and point at them, yell at them, and you're trying to show them up a bit, that's probably something that we don't want in the game of football, that we need to take out, make a great play, and move on.
Do you feel, if we can put you on the spot a little bit, do you feel like that warranted a penalty flag?
I'll probably have to analyze this a little bit later and look at the entire extent of what happened and what he did, and then we'll see how it goes.
He's such a professional, so
I'm
diplomatic.
not the only one that's non-committal now in this box. Diplomat, George Gusman.
George Gusman, what office are you running for next election cycle, buddy?
A non-partisan race?
No, we appreciate it, George. 1st and 10 here for Utah State. Laga with time to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Brock Lane. So 2 tight ends with their first touchdown catches of the season. You had Sturzer on the 68-yarder in the first quarter. This one 16 yards. Laga to Lane.
Laga threw the tight end open. What do I mean by that? He was well covered, and he just waited for the tight end to reach the back corner of the end zone. Again, great touch pass, great accuracy, and a really good decision.
Laga has been impressive throwing
Very
the football.
impressive. As impressive as I've seen in the Mountain West Conference in terms of throwing the football. He's up there with Jake Hayner.
So here is Coles for the point after, and it is good. And so Utah State taking a 17-7 advantage here in quarter number 2. Cooper Laga has a pair of TD tosses, and the Aggies up by 10. So this last Utah State scoring drive, 8 plays, 75 yards, 3 minutes and 4 seconds. And it was capped by the Cooper Laga 16-yard touchdown pass to Brock Lane.
Yeah, talking about those splits, right? the spacing, right? It's expanding the field. It's trying to make defenses uncomfortable. And so far, Hawaii's defense has been a little bit uncomfortable.
What Hawaii has not been able to do, at least not with high frequency or consistency, is get pressure on Laga. And so if you're going those wide splits and you're not getting pressure, that's kind of a tough combo, huh?
Yeah, and when we talked to Timmy in our conference call yesterday, he mentioned, what are they looking for in recruiting? First thing he mentioned was defensive ends with long levers that can rush the passer. We go back all the way to Kaimana Padello, and he was a walk-on as the best pass rusher in the last maybe decade.
Connor Coles boots it out of bounds.
Kickoff out of bounds. Kicking team.
Excuse me, that's Elliot Nimrod kicking it out of bounds.
First down.
Yeah, and so Hawaii is going to have decent field position here.
Being a former special teams coach and a guy that's coached defense, that is a cardinal sin, right? The difference between the 35-yard line and the 25-yard line is immense in terms of scoring opportunities.
So Hawaii will get things started at the 35. And so here is the play action. Shager hit as he let this one go. It's Parson, little hezzy move. And he's iced out of bounds as he crosses the 40-yard line. It'll be about 2 yards shy of the first down marker. The line to gain the 45.
Yeah, when we talked to Ian Shoemaker, right, about getting Tyler Hines touches, he mentioned this guy, Dedrick Parson, is a complete back, and we're seeing that this evening.
Shager, he's going to throw it out to Zion Bowens. Bit of a bubble screen there, and looks like he's able to maneuver up the sideline and cross that first down marker.
Always nice when you see the quick game, right? Basically, those are outside runs. Good blocking on the perimeter, and that's when you put 85 out there. You put Caleb Phillips out there in the slot, right? He becomes a tight end in space, a big surface blocker on the perimeter.
Shager so far, Rich, 11 of 13 for 111 yards and a touchdown.
On point.
Takes the handoff here, steps up, and that one will fall incomplete. That's sort of how it's been with Braden Shager this season, right? There have been peaks, there have been valleys. We are seeing, at least thus far, a Braden Shager who has been efficient in this game.
Yeah, really high peaks, really low valleys, but the efficiency thus far is continuing. That's the back shoulder throw, right? So if you don't win on the line of scrimmage and you're running stride for stride, that's timing on that back shoulder. And I've seen him make that throw before, but it is one of the hardest throws in all of football.
This is a give to Parson. And he goes right down University Avenue for a gain of 9.
That's H power, right? So the H-back, who's Caleb Phillips, doesn't come back through the formation. He leads up in the hole. So it's just like having a fullback who's lined up as the H-back. Really a powerful running formation for Hawaii, one they just introduced a couple of weeks ago.
We've seen now the 3 running backs that have been most utilized here this season for Hawaii: Parson, Hines, and Bryant Lele, who had that big run on 4th down. Here's a big run by Parson, right up the gut.
Yeah, and that's an unbalanced line, right? So you have a guard and a tackle, so they have the numbers to the right side. You're going to see a tight end and an H-back, and they just wash the line of scrimmage down, and big hole for Dedrick Parsons.
Breaks off 14 yards there. First 3rd down conversion that was successful for Hawaii, but Pokesi Vakauta says enough of this, and he blows up the play in the Hawaii backfield.
How do you stop the inside run? It's by penetrating the line of scrimmage. You're going to see 96 just come with a full head of steam.
He recovered a fumble against Hawaii last year, one of 21 players of Polynesian descent on this Utah State roster.
Very impressive in terms of recruiting Polynesia. 3 players from the state of Hawaii.
2nd and 13. Flag comes out. Shager is able to get it to his receiver, but it was out of bounds. Found Jonah Panoke over there in front of the Hawaii sideline. Good look.
Holding, number 77, offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. 2nd down.
That's Austin Hobb. Good look there at Timmy Chang. And hey, look, this has been tough this year, right? And you have to continually reset week to week and try to find ways to inspire and motivate your players. And sometimes, you know, as a coach, you know this, Rich, you're in danger of maybe sounding like a broken record. You're trying to say the same things because the same elements apply every week.
Yeah, and especially when you have 8 losses, right? And you're talking about reflection. You want to make sure you coddle these kids, you love them up, but you also still got to coach them hard.
And that's a completion to Panoke, and he is able to get some yards after the catch.
That was acrobatic. He almost went around the defensive pack. What a great catch by Jonah Panoke.
That's catch number 5 on the evening for Jonah. 12-yard play there for Hawaii. And that's going to bring up 3rd and 10. So Panoke now 5 catches, 70 yards. He has the touchdown as well.
Battling back from that clavicle injury, came back early. Some people thought it was a season-ending injury, but he showed his toughness, showed up every day in the training room with Cody Cook, getting stronger.
Shager, he's going to look deep. Has a man, it's Panoke, but he overthrows him. The student section and the band, they want a penalty flag, thought that there was some pass interference, but no such luck there on that sequence.
If you come to the TC Ching Field and there are tickets available, because it's been a sellout all year long, get the end zone tickets because you literally are in the game. Panoke, you're going to see him try to win on the line of scrimmage, use that left arm, get some separation, stack the defensive back. The ball wasn't poorly thrown, just a little more trajectory.
There was some hand fighting at the very least, but that's going to bring up 4th down. 49-yard attempt for Matt Shipley, and it is good. Matt Shipley.
Whenever Matt Shipley kicks a successful field goal, I like to give Solomon Landrum, the snapper, the holder, Ben Fogg. That was a deep kick.
And a season long for Matt Shipley. His previous long this season was 40 yards. He had hit from 40 twice. But Matt Shipley from 49 able to just blast it through the uprights.
That's some leg strength.
And so Hawaii responds at least with 3. And it is now 17-10. And of course, we're in the islands. You got 8:08 on the clock here in the first half.
I love the 8:08. A lot of time left in this first half. Hawaii makes it a 1-score game, only trailing by 7.
So Kyler Halverson now on to kick. Comes into this game 19th among FBS kickers with a 71.8 touchback percentage.
Yeah, and he literally could kick it into the band. When we were up in Colorado State, he kicked it into the fan group that was kind of snacking on some chips and drinking some beers. This guy has a cannon.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Matt Shipley showing his cannon moments ago. Now it's Halverson's turn to try to send one. Vaughn and Jordan Wilmore, another backup running back, back to receive. And this one will result in another touchback. Yeah, that's sort of Kyler's kick, right? Like, I mean, literally and figuratively, that's just what he does. He can send it to the end zone.
Yeah, and give Timmy Chang credit for that, too, right? You got 2 kickers on scholarship, a place kicker and a guy that just kicks off. But Kyler Halverson can also kick field goals, and he has a lot of eligibility left.
No Souvenir had to toss it back. And, hey, does that guy have any eligibility? That looked like a pretty good spiral right there.
In arena football, you get to keep that, but not in college football. Those balls are expensive.
Yeah, we got budgets that we have to consider here. So Utah State's offense on the field, ball at the 25. See the numbers for Cooper Lega. 9 of 13, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, and finally Hawaii gets home. And guess who? Meki Pei, 5'11" sophomore, who has missed the last several games to injury. He is back, and he's in the backfield bringing down Lega.
Only 9 sacks coming into this game, and that's one of the small criticisms of Jacob Euro, is to bring extra people. Meki Pei comes off the weak side, does a nice job of controlling his feet, making that big sack.
Here's the run by Tyler, and he's breaking a few tackles to at least get positive yardage.
Yeah, and the more football you watch, you see missed tackles, guys not wrapping up, getting their head across. Inside handoff, nothing happening in the middle with the big guys. And then there's a missed tackle. There's another missed tackle.
Yeah, Logan Taylor, a rare missed tackle for a guy who in the previous 3 games had 40 total tackles, second in FBS football. That pass incomplete as Laga tried to hang it out to the flats to Tyler, but overthrew him. 4th and 7, and Utah State's going to have to punt.
Looking downfield, right? Finally, the check down. Great coverage downfield, and give credit to plastering the receivers. Abraham Ilamimi, the defensive back coach. I think one of the best defensive back coaches in the Mountain West Conference. Hopefully, Timmy can keep him on that staff because he's got NFL potential.
So Stephen Kotzenle, another former Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Week, on to punt, and it's a beauty. And it is fielded by Nick Senecal, now back in punt receive. And he goes down at the 26, maybe the 27-yard line. That's where Hawaii's offense is going to get started. So we saw Dedrick Parson muff a punt earlier in the game. Cue Nick Senecal, the freshman from Montreal, Canada, who has also had some experience there as a punt returner, and he's able to be a little more shorthanded on that occasion.
Yeah, and there goes my conspiracy theory about the lights, the drop punts, the drop big trajectory
Would you like
throws.
to embellish?
Well, you know, this is a retrofitted stadium. We've seen so many drops the last couple of years. My feeling is they need some illumination.
So a 3 and out for Utah State. That's the first 3 and out for the Aggies. Here is Tylen Hines. And Hines, the freshman from Mount Pleasant, Texas. Only 5'7", $170. But this guy is built for sure, and the way he runs is something to behold.
Yeah, he's built for it tough, right? And he also bench presses 325 pounds. And he gave the strength coach, Cody Cook, a lot of credit because they lift in the season, so he's keeping that strength up. But this guy runs like he's 210 pounds.
Yeah, ran an 11.14 in the 100 meters in high school in track and field. Shager has to step up. Now he tucks it. He's going to just try to get positive yards. But he is wrapped up. He was surrounded by Aggies. Tavian Coleman finally brings him down. But he also had Hale Motuapuaka, number 8, the 6'1" senior out of Punahou, his 5th year with Utah State. And the defensive coaches, they just beam about what this guy means to the team.
Yeah, and even talking to the head coach, but they say not only is the alpha on defense, he's the alpha on the whole football team. He is the leader, does everything right. And it's good to see him continue to make plays.
Yeah, the defensive coordinator, Ephraim Banda, actually said that it's because of Motu Apuaka that he decided to bring his family out for a vacation for 10 days this past summer to Hawaii. The throw off balance is picked off. Ike Larson with the takeaway.
And that's the kind of throw that will drive you crazy, right? There's a flag on the field, but not a good decision by Braden Shager.
Yeah, one of those, you want to get rid of it, but you don't want to haphazardly send it up for grabs, which is what Braden Shager effectively did here.
Yeah, it's a huge loss. It's a sack. Can you throw it out of bounds? Do not throw it down the field.
Ike Larson, 3rd interception of the season, but we await the ruling here on the penalty flag.
The result of the play is an interception. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 77, Hawaii, 15-yard penalty will be added to the dead ball spot. That's number 77's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul for the game.
It's his first unsportsmanlike, but it's his 2nd penalty, and Austin Hopp having a tough evening.
Somewhat ironic, right? We were questioning whether or not there should have been a taunting penalty thrown on an earlier play by a Utah State receiver. And yet you have now the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that is thrown against Austin Hopp. And now it is Utah State with a very short field. 5.5 minutes left to play in quarter number 2.
Yeah, and you saw Roman Sapolo over there. And, you know, the most important hire for a new head coach, to me, I think, is the offensive line coach. And what a pickup Roman Sapolo has been for Timmy Chang.
It's a handoff to Tyler. And he is met by Peter Manuma, able to stand him up as fellow Rainbow Warriors come over to also lend a hand. And now you're starting to see a lot of chirping between these two teams.
Yeah, Mekhi Pay, Peter, a little chirping back there, but that was a heck of a tackle now. Make no mistake about that. That's textbook. That's clinic stuff. Really nice job of wrapping up, keeping his head up, eyes up, rip, wrap, grab, cloth, come to balance.
Second of the half, 30 seconds.
Peter Manuma entered this game tied for second on the team in tackles. And he has just flourished and continues to seemingly get better from week to week. So you got the timeout and a good look there at Peter Manuma. But miscues have hurt Hawaii, some self-inflicted wounds. You had the muffed punt. That led to 3 points for Utah State. Here is an interception thrown by Braden Shager, and you have Utah State very much driving up the driveway towards the garage here.
Yeah, and that's what Blake Anderson said, right? We have to win any way we can. We've had a tremendous amount of adversity. Our players need to be resilient in terms of playing that many quarterbacks, having new starters, having guys suspended, kicked off the team. There's been a lot of adversity, but they're still in this to win it.
So second down and 6 upcoming for the Aggies. Ball at the Hawaii 23.
Just as I talked about wide splits, they bunch everything up.
Just over 5 minutes to play in the first half.
Now they spread out, right? Who holds the chalk last? Hawaii now trying to check their defense. Guys running all over the field, making them uncomfortable offensively.
Look at how wide those splits are. Laga able to elude pressure for a moment and finally brought down. Penalty flag is thrown. Jonah Kahahavai-Welch was not going to be denied on that play.
Yeah, he came quickly around that left side. And then you got Andrew Choi.
56, offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still second down.
And you have the hold on Cole Moats. Remember, Moats playing in place at right tackle of the injured Jacob South.
As for Iwai Malo, getting a little push inside, but watch 42. Really do a nice job with that offhand, right? Beating him on the line of scrimmage and then continue to stay with the play. Andrew Choi finally with that sack.
Yeah, Choi with the punctuation mark after the pursuit by Kahahavai-Welch. 2nd and 16. Laga trying to book it. Breaks a tackle. Breaks another. Meki Pei had some paws on him, but he goes down a couple yards shy of the first down marker.
A la Josh Allen at only 6'1", 225 pounds. You got to see right here. Watch this young man hurdle, break tackles, uses offhand like a running back.
3rd and 2 after the 14-yard pinball run by Laga, and Kahahavai-Welch cuts that one short. So a decision time perhaps for Utah State. 4th down, but it looks like they're going to go to their go-to kicker, Connor Cole.
Jonah Kahahavai-Welch, that might be the most impactful series he's had this season. I mean, he's showing up, showing speed, showing technique, showing tenacity.
And so here is a 39-yard attempt by Coles. And Hawaii, when they needed some Manoa magic trying to come from behind here, they come up big with the stuff on the field goal. However, there is a penalty flag. We'll see what this is about. But John Tuitupo saying, "Ah, ole," on the Connor Coles kick.
JT showing that athleticism, the penetration, then getting the hand up. He's got long levers. He's an athlete. Great penetration. Not the first time he's blocked a kick this season.
Yeah, that one riled the fans up pretty good. But again, long discussion here amongst the officiating crew. We're awaiting the announcement from Scott Campbell.
The result of the play is a blocked field goal. After the play is over, personal foul on unnecessary roughness, number 42, Hawaii. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the dead ball spot. It'll be 1st and 10, Hawaii.
Really nice penetration inside. Those big DTs. Etienne trained. Thomas Sheffield going after the kick. Nice job with the inside push, penetration, and there's big JT getting excited.
Super senior from Waitangi, American Samoa. Graduated from Kalaheo High School in 2016. His daughter and 2 sons very proud of Pops on that play. Here's Shager throwing on the run. Nearly got it home to Jonah Panoke.
Great placement, full-on sprint to his right. I'll tell you, besides that one decision that Braden Shager's made, he's throwing the football like a big-time quarterback. Watch the ball placement right here to Jonah Panoke as he goes to the sideline, coming back to the football.
Yeah, Ephraim Banda, the defensive coordinator for Utah State, he said he feels like Braden Shager can make just about every throw on the field.
And then when we talked to Ian Shoemaker, he said that's why there's 2 4-stars that are not playing, because Shager has that potential.
That one falls through the hands of Caleb Phillips, another one that was put right on target.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do right when you're evaluating a quarterback at the end of the game. Were the interceptions tipped? Were the incompletions dropped? This ball, you couldn't throw it any better. And the big senior transfer from Stanford wishes he had that one back.
Hey, come on here, Debo.
So closing in on 3 minutes to go here in the first half. 3rd and 10. A couple of hard luck drops for the Bows. Egypt Parson in the backfield. Shager gonna roll out. He's gonna fling it, and had for a moment Zion Bowens with some separation, but it's incomplete.
Yeah, and if I'm Ephraim Banda, the defense coordinator, I'm bringing pressure to Shager's right, the left side, because he's scrambling to his right, buying time, and that puts a lot of pressure on that secondary.
Shager was being chased by Daniel Greshik, A.J. Vongpachan.
Greshik with a bunch of sacks this season.
He came in with a team-high 5, and so Hawaii forced to punt it away. And it is Cooper Jones back to receive for the Aggies. That's the first 3 and out for Hawaii in this game, and that is a bad punt, but look at this roll. And it's going to be down inside the 40. I'm not sure that was the intention there by Matt Shipley.
The thing about it is dangerous because when it goes past the line of scrimmage, if it hits a white jersey, it's a free ball. We saw Scott Harding do that for a living. Good for 37 yards, but watch this. He misses this. It almost hits Blessman Ta'ala, who's an up back.
Yeah, you're right. It was sort of a fire drill on the part of the receiving team there. Just get the heck out of the way.
Remember Scott Harding years ago, the punt return team would literally go off the field and let that ball roll. One of the greatest punters in NCAA history. That ball almost touched somebody.
So Utah State, solid field position, 2:56 to still do something with them. They have all 3 timeouts. This is a handoff to Tyler. Oh, evades one tackler, gets away from Logan Taylor. And finally, Peter Manuma wraps him up. I think Tyler may have stepped out of bounds a couple of yards earlier.
Yeah, and that's not discipline, right? We talked about every defense has an edge, a force player. Eyes are going inside, stacking those inside gaps, but somebody's responsible for that D or O gap, and then you have a missed tackle, putting your head down.
There's Tyler again. Spins away, and then falls forward for another good bite of yardage. Andrew Choi finally making the stop, but Calvin Tyler Jr., they have been providing the Hawaii defense a heavy dosage of number 4. Now they fake the handoff, they swing it out to McGriff. And he's pushed out of bounds. That's going to bring up 3rd down and a few.
Verdell Edwards. When you look at both Hugh Nelson and Verdell Edwards, they look like SEC cornerbacks. I mean, they're built. They're 6'2", 6'3". They're over 200 pounds. You almost wish that they could play some safety, but those are some good-looking corners.
So 3rd and 4. Fake handoff to Tyler. It's batted in the air, and it is caught by, no, falls incomplete. McGriff had his hands on it,
pass,
but it fell incomplete. That was up for grabs on a tantalizing 2nd or 2.
Good job on the quick action. Watch again. Jonah Kahavai-Welch get his hands up there. Very impactful in this football game. Nice job of reading the 3-step, the quick game.
And Sturzer and McGriff closest to it. In fact, that was kind of a pass breakup, one against the other. And so in this part of the field, Utah State with a little over a minute and a half left in the first half. They're going for it on 4th down. Lagat, who's going to throw it, has a man wide open. It is Tyler out of the backfield. And Calvin Tyler hits pay dirt on a 37-yard touchdown pass by Cooper Lagat.
Interesting 12 personnel, and then when you look, somebody's eyes are in the backfield. When you're looking at JoJo Forrest, the cornerback comes in on the slant. It's a second-level type of defender that has to take that. Whoever's responsible for the curl flat has to take what they call the wheel route out of the backfield. Not disciplined football for Hawaii's back 7.
3rd touchdown pass of the game for Cooper Lagat. He now has 214 yards on 11 for 17 passing, and this time he hits his running back, Calvin Tyler Jr.
A lot of times, right, in tight formations, you zone it up, you play cover 3, you run the post to take the corner into the free safety, and then the second level guy, the guy out of the backfield, runs the wheel route. Whoever's responsible for the flat has that second level.
And so that 3 and out for Hawaii, that one hurt, right? You had a couple of drops on that possession by the Rainbow Warriors. They would have to punt, and then of course Matt Shipley didn't have his best effort on the punt. Utah State just taking advantage again of Hawaii, not necessarily doing what they need to do.
Hidden yardage, right, in the kicking game. But then when you talk about going into your playbook, we talked about wide splits. We talked about tight splits. That was a very good call in a crucial situation. Utah State didn't fly all this way to punt or kick a field goal. They want to win this game, and they want to win it early.
5-play, 63-yard drive there for Utah State. Took a minute and a half off the clock. And this kickoff by Nimrod into the end zone.
Really important phase of the game, right? 1:26 left to go. Utah State receives the kick to open the second half. That's called double dipping, right, with the momentum. So Hawaii needs to, if they don't score a touchdown, get a field goal, continue to have success offensively going into that locker room.
Well, we were talking about Utah State wanting to run the ball, especially with their quarterback Lagat and his ability to run with the football. They have 84 rushing yards, 214 passing yards, and 3 TD tosses in this first half.
I watched every game. I did not see the ability to throw the football so successfully.
Shager again flushed, again throws to the near side, incomplete.
If you want to flush Shager, you'd like to flush him to the left. He's had some success, but there has been pressure.
And
holding number 75, offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still first down.
I was about to say another penalty flag is thrown, so this is a first half that in that regard has been pretty sloppy.
And they say you can almost call holding on every play, and that's probably not correct. But that's a guy who has the second most starts amongst all the Rainbow Warriors, and he has a lot of penalties this season.
5 penalties for 50 yards for Utah State, 7 penalties for 85 yards for Hawaii.
Yeah, and this has been sloppy in terms of the penalties, and they've been very disciplined.
Low snap, Shager able to retrieve it, and he is hit. Looked like there was contact with his arm as he was trying to pass the
Going
football.
on the field's an incomplete forward pass. Second down.
Shager definitely was under duress. I think his arm was also hit. He could not extend on that throwing motion. Utah State bringing some pressure. Ephraim Banda likes to pressure the quarterback, especially in these scenarios.
2nd and 20. Shager spikes that one. And they did not blow the whistle, or at least we did not hear when the players continued to play.
He's saying now it is
now they're saying it was an incomplete pass, but there was some confusion there.
Yes.
Spike the ball going forward. It's an incomplete pass. There was an eligible receiver in the area.
That's the key, right?
Yeah, that seems strange. You had some players who were playing on. Clearly, that was Shager throwing it into the ground.
And that's
reset the game clock.
Tylen was in protection. He wasn't really a receiver necessarily, but again, Shager wisely throws the ball by his feet.
So here's 3rd and 20.
don't want to give Utah State field position. You've got to flip the field.
It's Parson trying to bounce outside. And he'll only get a few. And we got another penalty flag.
It's been sloppy.
Holding, number 66, offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's Sergio Muasau. So Sergio, another guy who has played center and guard for Hawaii. And he has filled in admirably in the absence at times of Eliki Tanuvasa. Also the injury to Stefan Bernal went. But the penalty there, and here is 4th down.
You've had Solo Vaipulu. You've also had Maurice Ta'ala. A lot of different looks interior on that Hawaii offensive line.
And this is a dangerous situation here for Hawaii. Shipley standing on his own 5-yard line. And he gets it off. This is a much better punt. And it'll take Cooper Jones to the Utah State sideline area. And it goes out of bounds there. So now Hawaii just trying to prevent Utah State from adding more points here before intermission.
Yeah, and they're not far away from 4-down territory, right? You still got some time. They've got their 3 timeouts. That was a 41-yard punt, and you're right. It went out of bounds. No return. Good net.
Well, we've had a lot of penalties. We've had an average this season, according to updated stats presented to us by our good friend George Gussman, an average of 14.5 penalties per game this season in FBS football. False start is the #1 foul, 2.8 per game. That's actually up 9% from a year ago. And interesting is 53% of the false start penalties occur on the visiting teams. I guess that makes some sense,
yeah,
right?
The
if they're on the road.
And all those factors.
Laga, little underhand toss, but it is blown up. Robert Briggs meet Penei Pavihi.
Trickeration, good rush on the outside. Penei Pavihi doing his 111, doing his job. Watch #1, close to the back. Really a nice job of slipping the block. Penei Pavihi is a football player.
3 tackles for Pavihi. There's Briggs again. And it's looking like Utah State is fine with just running out the rest of the clock here and taking this 2-touchdown lead into the halftime break.
A little surprised by that. If they had success on 1st down, things may be different. But you're right. After not having success on 1st down, they just decided to take it into the locker room with a 14-point lead.
So they will hang on to all 3 of those timeouts here in the first half.
They're not mulligans. They're not coming
exactly.
back
You don't take them with you.
Half.
They decide not to use them. But Blake Anderson has to be happy with the way his team played in this first half, taking advantage of some Hawaii miscues. 3 touchdown passes by Cooper Laga and a 24-10 advantage for Utah State here at halftime. A lot to talk about for our guys, Rob and Jordan and Pavika, as Hawaii is going to be playing catch-up come quarter #3.